Okay, so this elusive God that brought up in every meeting, it's written all over the walls. It's in our book that people have been asking about. You know, I started thinking about it. You know, and it says that inside the book, it says that inside each and every man and woman is the fundamental idea of God, no matter how small it is. And I've brought this up earlier in a different video that I got to thinking about that. Uh, and again, I mean, I tried to drown out, that little atomic-sized piece of God, and but it just didn't happen because the end result was that God still stayed with me. But then I started comparing it to other stuff, and you know, I'm making a reference to the Bible. Jesus said, "The kingdom of God is within you, right? In you," which goes hand in hand with what it says in the Big Book. You know, I started thinking about it further. It's like when people do yoga, right? And they're crossing their fingers. You know, they're finding peace with themselves, right? They're getting rid of all that outside calamity, as the Big Book describes it. And all that outside garbage. And really, they're just trying to peace and meditate to get a closer contact with God in them. Because if you're blocking out the outside, God can't be out there. That's just basic math. Then you have people that align their chakras, right? The colored stones that start up at the head and work all the way down to the body. I think there's 6 of them. And each color stone represents something. Is that during that, what are you aligning your chakras to? You're getting a straight line. You're aligning the chakras to the God in you. And so God's there. Too many things say that God is in you. You know, really everything in the Serenity Prayer to accept the things I cannot change. Well, that's you guys. I can't change none of that. Can't change none of that outside stuff. Courage to change the things I can. Me. I can change me. I can change my perspective on stuff. I can change the way I feel about things and respond to things and act on things. Um, so that's kind of like an inside job kind of thing, isn't it? But then you got that dilemma. Okay, well, if God is here, right, and I've got to come up with a God of my own understanding, turn my will and my life over to the care of God inside me. How am I going to do that? Well, I mean, drugs and alcohol are a great way to put up a wall, right, between me and God. Living a life that's run on fears. Imagine those are like building blocks or rocks. Those are blocking me from God. You got guilt and shame and remorse and regrets and woulda, coulda, shouldas, and all these things which are blocking me from having any type of contact with this God in me, right? Because all that stuff doesn't live in the outside world; it lives between my ears. And I carry this burden, and sometimes it even manifests itself in physical forms. When I'm overstressed, I feel uncomfortable. I'm tense, I'm aggravated, I'm frustrated, right? And I'm lashing out at the world because I'm not happy with the world outside of me. More realistically, I'm not happy with the world inside of me either. And so I would imagine that this God is to be found in me. But I've got all this garbage and stuff that is keeping me from having any type of contact. So, third step, all right, God, you and me, we're going to start working together. I've got a general idea of what you look like to me. And so let's clear all this crap out of the way. Steps 4, steps 5. Let's get all this stuff out of the way so that I will have this open conduit, so to speak, between me and God. And, and then in step 6 and 7, I'm now asking God, okay, these are things which are my hangups, which are keeping me from communicating with you and me listening to what you have to say. So relieve me of this stuff. And all that stuff's an inside job. And I've heard that, steps 1 through 6, is I'm living in the problem, right? All these problems which are stopping me from this conscious contact with God. And then steps 7 through 12 is living in the solution. That's where I take this newfound idea of me. And I'm taking my buddy, God, with me. And, one other thing is when people pray, the general idea about prayer is, we don't hold our hands up in the air and go, "Oh, Lord Almighty," and start talking in Middle English. Generally, we hold our head down solemnly, and we're kind of looking at the God within us, right? That's where He is. If you go based on, the stuff I said just a little while ago, we're praying to the God in us. If I look outside to find God, I'm not going to find God. You know, me personally, I believe God's in me. I'm asking Him to direct my thoughts and actions. Not y'all's, because I'm going to respond to the way the world is, right? It's just the way I'm kind of programmed for the time being. So I've got to align myself with what God would like me to be inside. And then once that happens, then I can work the rest of the steps where I go out and try changing my world. Not just between my ears, but the outside world. By being kind to other people, by showing compassion, caring, love. So these are the things I look for. And I'm not successful 100% of the time. Sometimes I do step on people's toes, but compared to the way I used to be, it's so drastically different. I don't seek to hide anymore. And, so if that helps, man, that'd be great. I think everybody should have a little buddy God in them.